What do 5 helicopters, a handful of peaches, peanut butter, and Leonardo DiCaprio have in common? They're all part of the top 12 craziest prison escapes of all time. Let's hear the stories. At number 12, we have public enemy number 1. March 3, 1934. Mark that date. That's when the infamous John Dillinger broke out of the escape-proof Crown Point jail. The legendary crook was in for robbing more than 20 banks and multiple murders. His rap sheet made headlines because he had escaped prison twice. Yet, here he was, ready to pull off his third grand escape. Now take a guess at his escape tool. High-tech gear? Nope. Some hidden explosive device? Think again. It was a wooden pistol, a simple, hand-carved fake gun, colored black, with shoe polish, that he used to bluff his way past the guards. As soon as he was out, Dillinger returned to his previous lifestyle. He looted a few banks and generally enjoyed his freedom, until he was shot dead by the FBI a few months later. Fast, loose, and violent men like Dillinger rarely live to see old age. Violence was not a trait of our next escape. Far from it. Number 11. Catch Me If You Can. April 1971. We move from the FBI's public enemy number 1 to a man portrayed by none other than Leonardo DiCaprio in the film Catch Me If You Can. It was the year 1971, and Frank Abagnale had received a prison sentence of 12 long years. He was in for his slick tricks like forging checks and fake IDs. But Frank was no ordinary con artist. He was also a master of escape. Here's where the story gets interesting. The U.S. Marshal responsible for transferring Frank to prison made a colossal blunder. He forgot something important: Frank's detention papers. Now, most people might have let this slide, but not Frank. Nah, he saw an opportunity and he seized it. Armed with nothing more than 2 business cards, Frank, with his silver tongue, managed to pull off a jaw-dropping switcheroo, convincing prison guards that he was in fact an undercover prison inspector. Imagine that. And the guards fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker. Frank Abagnale did not enjoy prison, and he wanted out. So he reached out to his friend Jean outside of prison. Jean pretended to be a journalist researching prison stories. Under the guise of a journalist, Jean was able to get her hands on a legit prison inspector's card. Meanwhile, she doctored another card, one of an FBI agent. She slipped both cards to Frank. When the time came to make his move, Frank confidently flashed the doctored FBI card at the guards and claimed he needed to talk with the agent. And would you believe it? The guards bought it. They called the number on the card. Jean was the one who answered. She asked the guards to let Frank outside as part of the prison inspection. So the guards, unknowingly aiding in his escape, simply let Frank Abagnale stroll on out. Unfortunately for him, the police caught him again a few days later. Before we move on to the next crazy escape in our top 12, I want to take a moment to say hello to you, my valued viewer. My name is Curtis, the voice behind Top 12. I started this channel to focus on topics my viewers are most interested in. So if you have an idea for a top 12 list, or simply have suggestions on how to improve and refine these videos, please share them in the comments below. Also, a few seconds of your time to hit the like and subscribe buttons helps keep the momentum for this channel. Your feedback is what this channel is about. Now back to the list. Number 10. The Handmade Tools, January 10th, 1995. Keith Rose, Andrew Roger, and Matthew Williams pulled off a mind-blowing escape from the super-secure HMP Parkhurst in the UK. You won't believe how they did it. They used handmade tools put together during shop class in prison. But that's not even the mind-blowing part. Without ever laying hands on it, the 3 men assembled a fake master key by painstakingly memorizing the guard's key outline. With the ability to open any door in the prison, and armed with a handmade gun and a 25-foot ladder, the men made their escape. After breaking free from the prison on the Isle of Wight, they walked 10 miles to a private airport, thinking they would steal a plane and make a daring getaway. But fate turned against them. Their handmade key broke while starting the engine of the plane, and they were soon caught by the cops. We bet their crazy escape story will leave you wondering just how close they came to freedom. Handmade keys aren't needed if you have a spoon. On to crazy escape number 9, Spoon and The Raincoat. June 11, 1962, marks the date of one of the most legendary prison breaks ever. This is about Alcatraz, the rock-solid prison island that was said to be unbreakable. But Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers, John and Clarence, decided to challenge that claim. These guys were no ordinary inmates. They spent months digging out of their cells using spoons stolen from the cafeteria. And get this, they left dummy heads made from soap, toilet paper, and real human hair in their beds to fool the guards. It worked. They slipped out and launched a raft made of raincoats into the icy waters. Did they make it to freedom, or did the sea swallow their dreams? No one knows for sure. Their escape remains a mystery to this day. You were promised helicopters and peaches, and now I deliver. At number 8, the helicopter escape, May 26, 1986. Michel Vaujour was stuck in a Paris prison with a long 18-year sentence hanging over his head. But on May 26, 1986, he hatched a plan straight out of a cartoon. He took some peaches, yes, regular peaches, and painted them to look like hand grenades, armed with his dangerous peaches. Michel pushed his way past the guards and waltzed his way up to the roof where, and you're not going to believe this, his wife was hovering in a stolen helicopter. He hopped on and off they flew. The couple enjoyed 4 months of freedom before the police caught up to them again. Vaujour may have missed his true calling as an artist. That was helicopter number 1. Here come choppers numbers 2, 3, and 4. And number 7, 3 helicopter escapes 2001 through 2007. Not to be outdone by Michel Vaujour, Pascal Paillet basically became the Houdini of prison breaks. In 2001, he also escaped from a French prison in a hijacked helicopter. But he was not just thinking about himself, no. In 2003, he came back with another chopper and broke out 3 more prisoners. Fast forward to 2007, Paillet was at it again. His friends persuaded a helicopter pilot at gunpoint to land on the prison roof where Paillet was chilling, waiting for his Uber-style getaway. Every time Paillet escaped, he was free for a bit, but eventually the police would catch up with him and arrest him. Sounds like the French need to address their helicopter escape problem. And believe it or not, French helicopters make another appearance later in this list. Number 6, the tunnel escape 2015. Joaquin Guzman Loera, also known as El Chapo, the former drug boss of Sinaloa cartel, escaped from prison, not once but twice. In 2001, he got out of prison by bribing guards, who sneaked him out in a laundry cart. Then in 2015, he did it again. This time with a little more flair, he escaped through a mile-long tunnel built right under the prison's showers. But drug lords don't dig their own escape tunnels. His associates constructed a tunnel equipped with lights, ventilation, and a motorcycle on tracks to get him out faster. El Chapo was eventually caught and arrested for a 3rd time and returned to prison. He now resides in a supermax prison in the US. El Chapo's chances of escaping a 3rd time have greatly narrowed. Speaking of narrow, I present you with number 5 on our list, the Yoga Master. September 2012, Choi Gap-bok pulled off an escape that would make a circus contortionist jealous. This South Korean yoga master used his flexibility to squeeze through the food slot of his cell door. It was only 6 inches high and 18 inches wide. Practicing yoga for 23 years has its perks. Choi Gap-bok literally slipped through the cracks, stealthy wiggling and squeezing out into the night. Just 34 seconds and poof, he was gone. The guards were baffled. Although Choi enjoyed a brief taste of freedom, the cops caught up with him 6 days later. At number 4, the Chefs and The Tailor. June 5, 2015. David Sweat and Richard Matt were 2 fellow inmates of Clinton Correctional Facility in Dannemora, New York, who managed to pull off a surprising escape in 2015. Sweet and Matt had an aha moment when they figured out that a speed bump in the prison yard was actually a concealment for a large pipe, their underground path to freedom. Richard Matt used his charm to get Joyce Mitchell, who was the prison tailor, to sneak hacksaw blades to him. She stashed the blades inside frozen hamburger meat. The 2 men used these to cut through the steel back wall of their cell and into the large pipe. Their plan almost worked perfectly, except Joyce didn't show up with the getaway car. On the run for days, the law finally caught up with them. Sweat was captured after being injured in a shootout, and Matt was killed. Number 3, The Man in Heels, 2012. Ronald Silva was in for drug trafficking when he made a daring escape that sounded like something out of a movie. During her weekly visits, his wife gave Ronald pieces of clothing. Silva then went to great lengths to shave his arms and legs, apply fake nails, and put on a wig. lipstick, heels, and the outfit his wife had smuggled to him. But walking in heels, not his strong suit. He was almost home free, walking to a bus stop when a cop noticed his wobbly walk and busted. Next time, Silver will go with flats and leave the heels for his wife. Number 2. Helicopter ride with friends. July 2018, Redouane Faid is a French gangster who is known for his love of heist movies. And you can probably guess what he did. Turned his life into a real blockbuster. In 2013, he broke out of the prison with explosives hidden in tissue packs. But he was soon recaptured. Then in 2018, he pulled off an even wilder stunt. Faid had a few loyal friends hijack a helicopter, forcing the pilot to land right in the prison yard. It was a jaw-dropping escape that had the authorities scrambling and the public watching in disbelief. His freedom was short-lived, though, as he was caught 3 months later. What is it with the French and their helicopter escapes? It must be a thing. And now number 1 in our top 12 craziest prison escapes of all time, the peanut butter escape, July 2017. We fittingly have an escape of 12 men at once for the number 1 slot in our top 12. This is the crazy escape story of 12 inmates in Alabama who hatched a nutty plan to break free in 2017. Their tool of choice? Good old peanut butter. The inmates cleverly covered up a door number using peanut butter and then asked a guard to open it. The guard, believing it was just another cell door, opened it without question. But surprise, it was the door to the outside. Once the door clicked open, 12 men burst out. They threw blankets over the fence and clambered over to the other side to freedom. The chase wasn't long, though. 11 of the gang were back behind bars in less than half a day, and the final one found his run end in Florida not long after. These are the 12 crazy prison escape stories that are hard to believe. Do you know of any others? If so, share with us in the comments below. And before you go, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel to watch more unbelievable stories. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Goodbye.